are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are conducting life-changing research that solves the problems of today. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
Hey, welcome to the POMcast with Stephen Willis. We're going to start in a few minutes, but I want to tell you to hit up our social sites, retweet, share, comment, like, do all of that stuff. It can only help us out and it'll make the show even better. But we're getting ready to give you a lot of good Ole Miss information, and I just thought I would tell you that because the POMcast is starting. Well, it's starting right now. Wait, no, that's a little early. It is starting right about now. All right, welcome everybody. Wednesday morning POMcast. I'm your host, Stephen Willis. Thank you very much for joining us. Before we get started, I do want to tell you about Travel and Cruise World. This is what I was trying to do. Basically, 1-800-330-7461, 1-800-330-7461. They can help you out. What I was trying to do is we're 20 months into this at this point. Everybody needs a vacation. Central Florida is the place you want to be. These guys can provide a boot on the ground to all the parks, what's going on, to all the beaches, to all the attractions down here, and can help you out. And best part is they can get you the same price you can online. Plus, you'll have this resource that's already here so your vacation can be perfect and not get ruined by an unexpected surprise. So give them a call, 1-800-330-7461, travelandcruiseworld.com. See Central Florida like a local. Down below, you can see where to catch us on podcasts. You can search Positively Ole Miss, leave a 5-star review. You can say whatever you want to, just leave a 5-star review. That'll help with the algorithm with people trying to find the channel. And also, if you want to watch the show, you can catch us on Old Positively or at the Stephen Willis on Twitter. You can catch us www.facebook.com/POMcast on Facebook, Positively Ole Miss on YouTube. Subscribe and hit the bell. You'll not only know that we're streaming, you'll know what we're streaming about. That'll come in really handy in the future. And also, we're on Twitch at Positively Ole Miss, all lowercase, all one word. Thank you very much for tuning into the show today. Today's show will be the Know Thy Enemy Vanderbilt episode. We'll go over the Vanderbilt Commodores. I'll tell you why I have a soft spot for them as well. Also, we'll do a little bit of PC highlights from the presser yesterday. I think Braylon Sanders, Ashanti Seastrunk, and Eli Acker spoke at the presser yesterday. We have some video of them. And also we'll tell you about, without getting into too specifics because we can't really talk about that yet, a change that you guys need to start getting used to. That there's going to be different places to find this show, even though this show will not be called what it is right now, but we are going to move on. Basically, what we've done is essentially sold this show. We're still going to do it. It's going to be branded differently. It's going to be located in different places. So pay attention over the next month or so, and you'll know exactly where to get it, because I want to give you guys enough lead time to get where we need to go. And as soon as we can announce it, we will. But I want to get you used to the idea that we are changing locations, basically. Still happens. Positively Ole Miss is still a thing. We're still doing SEC After Dark, and we have a whole bunch of stuff with the Y'all's Conference Network. We're going to do all of that stuff. We got a Christmas present mid-December. It also potentially could be a time that the move happens around December 13th. Remember, the first week of December is basically going to be a quiet week anyway for us, because I have a family vacation. And the fun thing is we're going to do all of that. And my treatment for my brain tumor, they're going to zap me 5 times right before Christmas. It's going to start on the 15th. So I'm probably going to set that one up for like a late in the afternoon type appointment, and then an early in the morning appointment after that. So because that is early signing day, in case you didn't know. But that's kind of the plan. There's some things that I want to do that I might not be able to do, and I really want to hit that early signing day and kind of introduce y'all to the Y'all's Conference Network, and as we bring people in from all over. It's completely competition agnostic. It is completely content agnostic. If you want to join into this circle, you can basically advertise with a bigger piece of the pie because we pair shows back and forth. So it'll be interesting. We'll grow that. That's going to start after the new year. And this show is going to change a little bit in mid-December. So I'm pretty fired up about that. And as more details come in, we will let you know about it. But let's talk about Know Thy Enemy Vanderbilt. And this is probably not going to be one of the most listened to podcasts ever. But Vanderbilt's averaging 15 points a game. They're giving up an average of 35 points a game. It's obvious to see why they're 2-8. Their wins are against Colorado State and UConn, which, what does that say about Colorado State? I need to look them up and find out what they are. Offensively, Vanderbilt is averaging, 297 yards a game. Good grief, poor Vandy. Defense is giving up 459. They're throwing the ball for 182. They're giving up 268. They are running for 115, giving up 190. That tells me they have a line issue. Both of their lines, offensive line, defensive line, that's going to be the first step in this rebuild, is rebuilding the offensive and defensive line, it looks like. Ken Seals, who's had trouble with injuries throughout the year because they have trouble on the line, has thrown for 1,173 yards, 5 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Remember, I'm the captain and founder of the Ken Seals fan club, but this offense is not fitting him at all, and that offensive line, it's a problem. Mike Wright, who is more of the mobile quarterback, has thrown for 603, 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, probably because he can scramble around a little bit. Hey, we're going under 2 hours potentially by the end of this show for the Egg Bowl, so that's pretty fantastic. Also, if you look at rushing, they have 2 backs, including Mike Wright, the quarterback, 2 players that have gone over 300 yards. Rocco Griffin is about to go over 300 yards, so they'll have 3 players over 300 yards shortly. Their leading receiver is Chris Pierce. He's caught 43 passes, 2 of those for touchdowns. Backup is Will Shepard, or second is Will Shepard. He's caught 36 for 416. So, yeah, it's about what you expect. They don't throw the ball much to players out of the backfield. They've sacked the quarterback, looks like about 8 times. Their TFL number is, their best one is Anthony Origi, and he has 9.5 tackles for loss. So that's actually a good number. And kind of the Vanderbilt defensive player number that we've come to expect. They've picked up the ball. It looks like they have 12 picks. So they're good at getting turnovers a little bit. Yeah, it's just one of those things, honestly. Their leading scorer is their field goal kicker. Their leading touchdown maker is Cam Johnson. You remember him from last year, but he is actually down the list on receptions. He is 4th on the team in receptions and 4th in receiving yards as well. So that's interesting. As good as he was with the team last year, he was kind of their whole thing. Ken Seals relied on him quite a bit. But he's 4th on this team. I'm not overly impressed with what has happened at Vandy at all. Colorado State, I did want to check them out as well. So we'll see what they're doing. They're 3-7, with a win over. They beat San Jose State. They dog stomped San Jose State. But wins over that, Toledo and New Mexico are their 3 wins. And then later in the year, it's starting to kind of fall apart on them. They got a nice road trip this weekend to Hawaii. So they should enjoy the heck out of that. So that is the know thy enemy Vanderbilt. We're not talking statistically about a team that should scare you much at all when it comes to what's going on and how, whenever you look at SEC teams, Vandy should not stand. Because Ole Miss should dominate on both lines. They should dominate, honestly, at skill positions. They have better players than Vandy has. Everybody's nervous about Vandy, but this is not the Vandy that is a typical Vandy. This is a last year type Vandy. Derek Mason, for all the good things about him, ran that program a little bit off of a cliff. And in doing so, just put Vandy in a horrible, horrible position. Now, I will always have a soft spot in my heart for Vanderbilt. Always. It just, they operated on my tumor. I was in neuro ICU 3 separate times, basically for the whole month of August. One year I was in neuro ICU at Vanderbilt. The standard of care I got was fantastic. I will always have a soft spot for Vanderbilt. There's no doubt about that. Now, in saying that, Vandy has issues talent-wise. They have a problem being competitive. Now, they beat Colorado State. Good for them. They beat UConn on a last-second field goal. They lost to ETSU. This was a hard year for Clark Lee. This was a hard, essentially, move for him and them to make, moving up, because they have to rebuild everything. This is like a 7-year job at Vanderbilt. They better hope they have the right guy, because they want him to do what he needs to do. It's a 7-year job. And he can build, and you've got all these facilities upgrades and everything that's supposed to happen at Vanderbilt, and he can just slowly chip away. Now, I expect Vanderbilt and Ole Miss, the series, to wind down. This is the game that when Texas and Oklahoma comes in the league and they split East and West, there's a nice, neat thing. Ole Miss is going to lose the Vanderbilt game. And that's fine. There shouldn't be permanent cross-division opponents anyway. But in saying that, I will miss not having it. Now, the problem for them is Alabama and Auburn's going to likely go to the East when Texas and Oklahoma come into the league and Missouri comes over to the West. And that is going to leave poor Vanderbilt to deal with Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Georgia. Tennessee's on their way up. But teams like Kentucky and Vanderbilt, I pretty much genuinely feel sorry for what they have going on. It's a bad look. I'll put it like that. But I do want to say that, like I said, I have a soft spot for Vandy. I want things to go well for Vandy. Things are not going well right now competitively on the field. And I expect a little bit more of the same to happen after that. Now, we are going to do the PC highlights, and when we come back, I will talk a little bit about what I expect from this game and kind of pre-Egg Bowl talk down the road, what's going on. So here's the presser highlights. We'll be back in a few minutes.
It's tough. It's real tough. But, I'll just try to stay in the playbook and learn everything, I don't know where I might go, anything, no matter who might go down or what. I just try to stay ready.
Man, it's been a long time coming, man. But my last one in the vault, it's gonna be a special one, man. Just to have my family and friends here, and hopefully go out with a dub. That's our plan. Go 1-0 this week. So I have this be my last game in the vault. So make it the best one.
Well, figured out just kind of first of the week, they put me in there running with the ones, and all week just ran with the ones, and then just on Friday kind of figured out I was going to start. And main thing with preparation was a lot of film, watching film, seeing what those guys do, what they're good at, the pass rush moves, all that.
It was just something I figured out I could do, and Coach Dirk, he was.
All right. Sorry about that. I had a graphic problem, and I went to fix it and accidentally clicked off of it. So that was the press conference highlights. Woohoo! Sorry about that. We'll do better with that next time. So the way I expect this game to go, by the way, everybody will probably get a couple minutes back because of that happening. But the way I expect this game to go is Ole Miss is going to work to try to score as many points as they can as quickly as possible. So I genuinely expect Matt Corral and Braylon Sanders and those guys to come out and kind of turn it loose. I expect double moves. I expect all of that stuff in hopes that this game is 31-0 at halftime so they can recreate what Kentucky did. I expect Ole Miss to try to get up in front as quickly as possible because Ole Miss plays Thursday night. Ole Miss versus Mississippi State. You get your Egg Bowl, you get your Thanksgiving, but that is Thursday night. So the quicker they can get them off the field, the quicker you can start the recovery process. You can have fun and you can get ready for that game because that Ole Miss Mississippi State game has the potential to be quite fun, and in doing so, it's going to be very enjoyable. Like I said, I do not live in the state of Mississippi. I am wired a little bit differently when it comes to games like that. I don't believe in trash talk. I don't believe in anything about the other team. So if you are a fan of another team, let's say Tennessee, and I care about you and this interest that you have for literally 3 hours at a time and not enough to talk to you about it. That's the way I view it. Because I follow Ole Miss football for my enjoyment, for what I want to do. I don't care about your enjoyment because it doesn't match up with what I want. And I'll compete with you for those 3 days, but I won't talk trash to you. There's no sense in talking trash to you. And at the end of it, it just is either going to go away or you're going to be very happy. You're going to be elated. And that goes with me also being a program fan. See, I'm a fan of the program. I'm not a fan of the games. I don't make sweeping judgments based off of one game. I'm a fan of the program as a whole. When it's time to move on for a coach is when the program gets to the point where I don't see if it can move back. I'm not going to hop on in the middle of the second quarter and say the head coach should be gone. That's not how it'll work. But I expect them to try and score as quickly as they possibly can. I think they are going to blitzkrieg Vandy because they have to, because they want Matt Corral to have the numbers and to be able to sit down at halftime. Think about this. They're trying to reignite Matt Corral's Heisman campaign, especially now that the weapons are back. You need numbers. He's going to have to throw for 350. He's going to have to throw for 4 or 5 touchdowns. How are you going to do that? And that'll be a blitzkrieg in the first half is the answer to that. I expect them to try and get chunk yardage for people that want to look at box scores leading up, but against Vanderbilt, he needs 300 yards, 400 yards. He needs a typical Matt Corral type performance. I expect him to not run a little bit because he's going to save that for the state game. I do expect him to run a little bit for the state game. So that's the way I see this game going. Now, will it? Who knows? Now, I'm just telling you what I think the game plan will be and what they want to do. And if that happens, all of a sudden you have Matt Corral putting up unbelievable numbers, well over 300 yards, a blowout of Vandy. They move up to 10th in the next week's college football playoff. Remember, everybody's talking about the college football playoff rankings because Ole Miss came in at ranked 12th. Fine. Do not get upset about these rankings because they don't matter until the last one. The last one matters. The rest of them don't. Because it's been proven that the college football playoff does a new ranking every time. One does not really influence the other. So if Ole Miss wins poorly against Vanderbilt, you'd think that, well, the polls might drop them a place or two. Oklahoma might go over the top of them. Well, it doesn't work. This is a new ranking. Ole Miss could be 18th next week. Ole Miss could be 6th next week. Anywhere in between. Because it's so random. It's not a linked ranking to where if you lose a game, you're going to move up a couple pieces. If you or you lose a game, you're going to move down. If you win the game, you're going to move up. It doesn't work that way. Now, there's some things that contribute that's going to look the same way, but these rankings are not based off of normal rankings. Just a heads up there. And Oklahoma State plays Kansas State, I believe. No, Baylor plays Kansas State. Oklahoma State still has Bedlam left to go. Michigan State has Ohio State. Michigan has Ohio State. There's a lot of potential for carnage in the positions above them. It's not worth a single ounce of effort to get upset about these rankings. He's like, Ole Miss is 12th, they're 10th in the polls. Doesn't matter. It's not worth a single ounce of effort. The main thing that you need to realize, Ole Miss is 12th. What does that mean? That means they're Access Bowl eligible, which means the Peach Bowl's in play, which means the Sugar Bowl's in play. That number is going to be important moving forward because that's the don't need to fall below line for Ole Miss football. And if Ole Miss wins the next two games, they're going to get where they're going to get. And I suspect that if they went out, they could end up in the Sugar Bowl. Alabama at 2, the second-rated college football playoff, and it's not even close. That means if Georgia wins a close one against Alabama, Alabama's not going to fall past 4. You're going to get that game. You're going to get that Alabama-Georgia game in the playoffs, one way or another. Now, if you have the Oregon or Ohio State and the usual suspects coming into things, I mean, Oregon, by the way, has Utah with 3 losses, and they're an underdog this week. There's carnage that, at this point in 2007, it looked like a high upset type of season. And then the last 3 or 4 weeks, just carnage happened. That's how LSU won the national championship that year, with 2 losses. Carnage just happening over and over and over again. Remember, be careful with that. Because chaos and carnage, it's your buddy now. The only thing you do not need, the only thing, if Alabama is not going to lose to Arkansas and Auburn, which it honestly is possible, Bryce Young could go out in the first series and get hurt, and Alabama has to quarterback with the backup, and that would be a problem against a team like Arkansas. So something like that can happen. But the likely scenario is Alabama probably needs to roll. You need to root for Alabama to roll these next few weeks. If they have Bryce Young, if Alabama wins, they need to win going away if they're not going to lose. If they win against Arkansas, they need to blow out Auburn. You don't need to root for the flip thing because you can't get to Atlanta regardless. So that's how you need to root moving forward. Also, big thanks to Mississippi State for that game against Auburn. That helped us out greatly. Thank you very much. And LSU, offensively, they've got problems. Defensively, pretty salty. So as more information hits about the transformational nature of the month of December for our show, we will let you know. And we'll see what happens. It's going to be a couple of things that come to the forefront. So thank you very much for tuning in today. And obviously tune in tomorrow for more. And have a great time, okay? Hotty toddy.